the Lord gives Moses the 2 tablets of the 10 Commandments, written upon by the finger of God. Moses has been away from the people for 40 days. And because it's taking so long on the mountain, the people had convinced Aaron to build an idol of gold in the form of a calf so they can worship. Aaron gathers their gold earrings and melts them down and fashions them into the image. He builds an altar in front of it so they can worship. And on the mountain the Lord is perturbed with the idol, and he sends Moses down immediately. Joshua has been waiting at the foot of the mountain for Moses to return. Moses' anger burns when he sees the calf, and he breaks the 2 tablets at the foot of the mountain. He burns the idol. He pulverizes it into coals. He questions Aaron, who tells him that the people wanted an idol. He says, "I threw the earrings in the pot and out this idol came." Moses calls all the Levites who did not participate and instructs them to kill all who did. Moses returns to the mountain to plead with the Lord because of the great sins of the people. The Lord hears Moses and directs him to move the people on into the promised land. And as they journey, the Lord will cause the Canaanites and the Amorites and the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, the Jebusites to flee from their homes as the Hebrews invade. However, if the people keep up their sin and fail to strip themselves of their ornaments, he will punish them. The people hear the Lord's command through Moses, and they strip themselves of all their ornaments. So Moses pitches a tent of meeting a little distance from the camp, and the people watch intently as Moses comes and goes from that tent. When he comes out, all the people stand, and when he enters in the tent, a pillar of cloud covers the entrance, and the Lord has a conversation with Moses. When the cloud covers the entrance, the people worship the Lord as the Lord is speaking with Moses face to face. Now Moses intercedes for the sins of the people, and the Lord hears his plea, and Moses asks if he possibly could see the Lord. But the Lord will not let him, saying, "If you do, you will die." So the Lord allows Moses to hide in the cleft of the rock. And while he is hiding there, the Lord will put his hand over the cleft and will pass by. And then he will remove his hand, and God will allow him to see his back only. When this happens, Moses does not understand or know that his face is glowing, and it scares the people. And after they tell Moses, he begins covering his face with a veil. When Moses enters the tent of meeting with the Lord, he removes the veil. Very soon after that, Moses explains the plans that he has seen from the Lord about the tabernacle, and he begins to collect all the needed supplies for its building. The craftsmen will go to work, and the project begins under the guidance of Moses, who sees each example on the mountain of the Lord before it is built on the earth. In fact, it's an example that the Lord shows him in heaven before it is built on earth. Finally, on the first day of the first month of the second year, the tabernacle is finished and it is erected, and everything is in its place as instructed by the Lord. When the glory of the Lord fills the tabernacle, Moses cannot enter the tent of meeting because a cloud covers it. When the cloud covers the tent of meeting, they camp. When the cloud is lifted from the tent of meeting, they move onward. By day a cloud is over the tabernacle, and by night a pillar of fire. Well, on the first day of the first month of the second year after leaving Egypt, the whole Hebrew camp assembles in the wilderness of Sinai. The Lord has Moses number the warriors of each tribe that is able to fight, those who are 20 years and older. When the census is complete, there are 603,550 men able to fight. However, they do not count the Levites because they, being priests, do not fight in the battles. Moses tells them the arrangement for the camp that the Lord has instructed around the tabernacle that has been created. In the middle of the east side is Judah, and in the middle of the west side is Ephraim. And over to the north side, from the east going to the west, will be Issachar, Naphtali, Dan, Asher, and Benjamin. And on the south side, from the east to the west, is Zebulun, Simeon, Reuben, Gad, and Manasseh. On the east side, just in front of the court of the tabernacles, is the place for Moses on the north, then the priest in the middle, and Aaron on the south. The Merarites are all on the north side in the middle of the tabernacle, and the Kohathites are on the south side in the middle, and the Gershites take up the rear in the west side, directly behind the tabernacle. The priest and Moses and Aaron are all right around the tabernacle, and the rest of the tribes are around the rest of the area. They're all numbered. Now Aaron has 4 sons, but 2 of them have died because they took advantage of the Lord when the people made the offerings. In addition, they used fire in their fire pots not taken from the proper source. They are corrupt priests, but Eleazar and Ithamar continue to serve under Aaron as priests during his lifetime. Their chief responsibilities are the tent of meeting and the service in the tabernacle. If laymen come near the area of their work, the layman will die because only priests are allowed to serve in the holy place. Now the Lord decides to take all the descendants of Levi as his portion of the people. So he calls for a numbering of all the Levites that are males older than 1 month. The sons of Gershom have 7,500. The sons of Korath have 8,600. The sons of Merari have 6,200. In all, there are 22,000 males. Now, since the Lord has taken all of these Levites instead of the firstborn, he calls for a numbering of the firstborn males of all the tribes older than 1 month. Their number is 22,273. And because there are 273 more firstborn out in the tribes than there are in the tribe of Levi, the Lord requires the tribes to pay a price of 5 shekels each to redeem them from him. They give the money to Aaron and to his 2 sons, 1,365 shekels. Now the Lord calls for a numbering of the Koraths and the dispensing of job duties for every male 30 to 50 years of age. They are responsible for the tent of meeting and for the most holy portions of the tabernacle, which includes the veil, the Ark of the Covenant, the table of showbread, the dishes, the pans, the sacrificial bowls, the lampstand, the snuffers, the trays, the oil utensils, the golden altars, the fire pans, the forks, the shovels, and the poles. And when it is time to move all these items to a new campsite, the Koraths are to cover each of them with blue cloth and then to cover them in porpoise skins and insert a pole for carrying them safely. They are not to carry these items any other way, and the Kohaths are the only ones that can carry them. Other priests or laymen will die as a result of handling these things. Aaron and his 2 sons are responsible for taking down the veil and placing it over the Ark of the Covenant before covering it with the blue material and the porpoise skins. If anyone but Aaron and his 2 sons cover the ark, they will die. Moses counts the Gershonites from the age of 30 to 50 and gives them their orders. They are to pack and move the curtains and the screens and the hangings and the cords and the equipment. They wrap it all in porpoise skins and get it ready for the journey. Moses numbers the Merari descendants from the age of 30 to 50 and assigns their duties. They are responsible for the boards and the bars, the pillars, the sockets, the pegs, the cords, and the tent of meeting and the tabernacle. The result of the census of the Levites 30 to 50 years old yields 2,750 Kohathites, 2,630 Gershonites, and 3,200 Merarites. A total of 8,580 men are charged with moving and setting up the tent of meeting and the tabernacle. All men and women who have leprosy will live outside the camp. Anyone defiled by touching a dead body must also live outside the camp until he is cleansed properly. Sins against the Lord must be confessed, and restitution must be made with an additional penalty of 1/5 of that regular offering. A ram is to be given to the relative of the victim. If no relative exists, then it is to be given over to the priest. One of the most unusual and miraculous remedies involves the procedures used to determine if a wife has been sexually unfaithful. If a husband believes his wife is being unfaithful, he is to bring her to the priest. She is to drink a special concoction made with water and dust that's been gathered from the tabernacle floor. If she is guilty, her stomach will bloat out when she drinks it. If she is innocent, her stomach will stay normal. Now, both men and women can make special vows to the Lord, and he expects them to be honored no matter how ridiculous they are. If a Nazirite vow is made, that man cannot touch anything involved with the products that are made from grapes, nor can he cut his hair or touch anything dead. Once the vow is completed, he is to come to the priest with his offering, cut off all of his hair, and throw it into the fire. On the day that the tabernacle is set up, Moses consecrates it and the Levites, and he has 12 leaders of each tribe bring an offering, all on a different day, but every offering is the same. On day 1, the offering comes from Judah. Day 2 is from Issachar. Day 3 from Zebulun. 4 is from Reuben. 5 is from Simeon. 6 is from Gad. 7 is from Ephraim. 8 is from Manasseh. 9 is from Benjamin. 10 is from Dan. 11 is from Asher. And on the 12th day, it comes from Naphtali. On the assigned day, each tribe brings 1 silver dish weighing 130 shekels of silver and 1 silver bowl weighing 70 shekels. Both must be full of flour mixed with oil for a grain offering. They each must bring 1 gold pan full of incense weighing 10 shekels, along with a bull, a ram, a male lamb for a burnt offering. 1 male goat is brought for a sin offering. 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 lambs are included for the peace offering. Each tribal leader brings his offering on 6 covered carts with 12 oxen, which are given to the priest. They will be used to transport the tent of meeting and the tabernacle when it moves. The lampstand with its 7 lamps is to be hammered workmanship, not cast in a mold. It is to match the one that the Lord showed to Moses on Mount Sinai. Before serving their shifts in the tent of meeting or the tabernacle, which includes its morning and evening services, the assigned priest must wash and shave his whole body. He must put on clean robes and bring an offering. Priests may begin their training at 25 years of age, and they may serve until they are 50, when they must retire. However, those over 50 may continue to assist the acting priest, but they can no longer be in charge. In the first month of the second year after leaving Egypt, Moses directs the people to recreate the Passover ceremony on the 14th day of the second month at twilight. They are to prepare the same food they formerly prepared in Egypt, and anyone, Jew or alien, who has joined the camp is to celebrate in the ceremony. On the day that the tabernacle is finished and erected, a cloud covers it by day and fire by night. As long as these are in place, the camp must remain where it is. However, when the cloud is lifted, the people must pack everything and follow it to the next location. When it stops, they must stop and set up everything back as it was. Now Moses has 2 silver trumpets hammered out to sound when it's time to summon the congregation. When both are blown, everyone is to assemble at the doorway of the tent of meeting. The blast of one horn is to call for the tribal leaders to assemble. When it is used to sound an alarm and the people see the cloud has risen from the tabernacle, the 3 tribes on the east move first. The horn is sounded then, and it's time for each group to move. In times of war, the silver trumpets are used to signal an attack. They are also sounded on the first day of the month to signify the call for the peace offering that must be brought. Finally, with the tabernacle erected, the cloud lifts from it on the 20th day of the second month of the second year. The trumpet sounds, and Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun set out first. The tabernacle is disassembled according to the instructions, and Reuben, Simeon, and Gad follow the priest. The other tribes follow at the appropriate time, with Dan as the rear guard. Mount Sinai is in the land of Midian. Moses' father-in-law, his name is Jethro, but his priestly name is Revel, and he is a Midianite. And it was on his land that Moses saw the burning bush. The Lord has led his people back to the same mountain, Mount Sinai, where Moses first encountered the Lord. Moses invites his father-in-law to leave his land and to journey with them into the promised land. And so Revel, or Jethro, agrees, and the camp follows the cloud for a 3-day journey, or about 60 miles. At the new camp, the people begin to grumble and complain, remembering all the different foods that were available in Egypt. It causes the Lord to be very angry with them. So he sends fire to scorch the outskirts of the camp. Moses quickly prays and the fire dies out. They name that place Taberah because of the fire which burned among them. They do not have the melons and the leeks and the onions and the fish that they ate in Egypt. And all they have is manna, and it is coarse coriander-like seed that they crush and then they boil and they make it into cakes. And it tastes like baked bread with oil. And the Lord sends it every night with the dew. Now Moses is struggling with all the complaints of the people. And he cries out for help, and the Lord tells him to gather the 70 men from the elders of Israel. And they are to surround him and handle the complaints. And so Moses selects the men, and they join him. The Lord is so angry with the Israelites that he is going to give them the meat to eat that they are asking for, and not just for a few days, but for 30 days straight. They are going to eat meat until it comes out their nostrils, and they are sick of it. The Spirit comes upon the 70 that Moses has selected, and they are handling the complaints of the people. 68 of these men end up with Moses over the tent, and 2 are over in the camp. And Joshua sees them over the camp, and he's bothered that these 2 are not with Moses. So he runs to Moses and he complains. But Moses is thrilled that these 2 are out there doing their job and handling the complaints in the camp. Well, the Lord sends the quail for the next 30 days, and the people's desire for meat turns to disgust as the days pass. The Lord does not stop with their disgust for the meat. He sends a severe plague to kill those who are especially grievous in their complaints. And because of the plague, they name that camp Kiroth Hatava. Now, when the people quiet down, the cloud lifts, and it's time for the camp to move on to Hazeroth. While at Hazeroth, Moses marries a Cushite woman, and she's not in the line of Jacob, which infuriates Miriam. And she drags her brother Aaron into the family squabble. The Lord calls all 3 to come to the tent of meeting, and he chastises Miriam. The Lord says, "My prophets I will speak to through visions and dreams, but Moses and I speak face to face." Well, the cloud engulfs the interior of the tent, and when it lifts, leprosy is covering Miriam. Moses begs the Lord for her healing, but the Lord will not change his mind. So Moses has to put Miriam out of the camp for 7 days. Finally, after Miriam is back in the camp, they move on to the wilderness of Paran. In their camp in Paran, they are close enough to send spies over into the promised land. And Moses sends one of the heads of each tribe as a spy. 12 men go over. Shammua is from Reuben. Shaphat is from Simeon. Caleb is from Judah. Ilgal is from Issachar. Joshua from Ephraim. Palti from Benjamin. Gedaliah from Zebulun. Gedi from Manasseh. Amiel from Dan. Sethur from Asher. Nabi from Naphtali. And Gaal from Gad. And Moses sends them to report back if the people are few or many, weak or strong, good or bad, lean or fat. He also wants to know what the land is like and if it can sustain the Israelites. The spies go and return after 40 days. They bring back clusters of grapes so large that 2 men must carry them on poles. The country is strong in every way, especially the sons of Anak, to whom all the people look up and obey. The land is wonderful, but 10 of the spies report that it will be impossible for them to take it. They spread the word, and the people are afraid to go and possess the land. Moses attempts to change the mind of the people, but they will not listen. The Lord is angry and declares that he will not let those who are against him enter the promised land. Crushed, Joshua and Caleb tear their clothing in sadness. They have both said that they could take the land, and they are the only ones the Lord will allow to enter it when it's time. The nation of Israel will spend a total of 40 years in the wilderness because of their lack of trust in the Lord after hearing the report of the spies. Well, the next morning, a group of the people change their mind. They tell Moses they are ready to go, but he tells them, it's too late. And so they march up to the top of the hill to go possess the land without the permission of the Lord. And the Amalekites and the Canaanites engage them, and they kill them all. The camp of Israel is not headed to the promised land. They are now headed back to the wilderness. At each new location, they are to offer up a burnt offering with fire. The offering will be a soothing aroma to the Lord, and it will please him. Both Israelites and aliens who have joined the camp must make the same offering at every new location for the rest of their journey. 2 years have already transpired since they left Egypt. And now, for 38 more years, they will traverse the wilderness until everyone that is 20 years of age and older dies and is buried in the sands of the wilderness, except Joshua and Caleb.